You're listening to Tavern Sports Radio Network.
Show me the money! Show me the money!
Show me the money! Welcome back to is this the 58th episode? I might have to double check this. I believe it's 59th episode of Show Me the Money. Damn, that's a lot of episodes now. We're over a full year at this point. Let's take a quick look at what we got today, fellas. I know it's only a couple of us. How are you guys doing today?
Surviving.
I'm all right.
Making money the past 3 weekends, so
that must be nice.
my picks are shit on here, but
I don't know if I'm mistaken. I might be 3 in a row for my locks. I might be mistaken, but I think I'm on a little 3 streak right now.
I can tell you that you're above 500, which is nice. You are.
I found a little nest egg between Indiana, Illinois. Sometimes you get those lines that some fancy ones. Vanderbilt, I think, was my lock this previous week, and they drove me home. So we'll see what's out there. We'll go fishing again. We'll see. Let's see what underdog teams looking tasty on that cover.
there's a couple.
Absolutely. I think let's take a quick look at those standings now that you mentioned them, Park. We got you and Clark are currently tied for our top spots right now. You're both sitting at 6 and 4. I'm trailing kind of right behind you. I'm 5, 4, and 1, so about a win behind you essentially. John's still 4 and 6, or actually not still. He lost his pick last week. We couldn't get it in on the episode, but he ended up texting us, and he actually ended up losing his lock. No pick from Cole last week, so he stays at 5 and 5. Josh is 5 and 6. He lost last week, and then Tyler, right back to his losing, 2, 8, and 1. So any
Come on, man.
Hey, man, the fact that I'm somehow making money and avoiding this is crazy. But Parker, being my analytic advisor, he can tell you the account's just growing week by week. It's growing.
Okay, let's just divulge. Yes, it is, but there's a lot of side bets and a big bet that makes up for a lot of bets. But not he is hitting though. Might not be
Yodely.
Yeah. Exactly. Whatever. Hey, he's making money, so we're not sure how it's happening, but we'll just let it be.
Ty, how did the teaser go last week?
Parker, as analytic advisor, you can pull that up real quick. I have no idea.
As your analytic advisor, let me look back at my notes.
Yeah, I pretty sure it didn't hit, but the teaser I did not give out on the show, that 4-leg monster teaser, it hit, and another one hit on NFL, and a moneyline parlay hit in NFL. So
yeah, it would be great if you started sharing these with me, because I haven't hit shit in weeks now. So
here's the thing: we never know when they're gonna hit. They kind of just hit.
Yeah, they just they pop up sometimes.
Yeah, the analytics still need tweaking. We're not quite there with the metrics yet. We're not like Clark with the metrics that he's keeping out. That's been hitting.
Yeah, I got a 4-leg liner for the NFL this week though that I'll send you.
Hold up, I gotta find it.
Did the teaser just get
here it is.
cooked?
There's one. It was Chargers, Commanders, Vikings, and a Saquon touchdown. That was one. That was November 3rd.
No,
He also won here it is. In my notes, I found Dallas Cowboys plus 16, Baltimore Ravens plus 4, Bills plus 6.5, Commanders plus 8.5.
Monster.
It was a monster teaser, minus 140. And
but look back to the Thursday or Friday before that for the teaser I gave out on the show last week. Pretty sure it lost.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Oh, yeah, lost. Here's a.
How many legs hit? Out of
Which one was it? Was it the Texas A&M one, or the Army, Illinois, Ohio State, Indiana?
It'd be more than 4 legs. It was not the monster.
Oh, it was a 6,
Yeah, how many legs hit out of the 6?
3.
There you go. There
Because
you go.
Texas A&M, yeah, because Texas A&M shammed my bet. They were the only bet that didn't
So
hit
I
for
went
me.
3 out of 6 legs on here, but then I placed a 4-legger and clean sweep it. So, that is life, I guess.
Yeah.
Well done, fellas. Well, let's take a quick look. I am loading up our Heisman odds real quick just to see where everybody's at. Um, let's take a quick look at that. So we've got Cam Ward now leading the pack. He is plus 200, so he's made the biggest jump I think this last week, at least upwards. If you want to look at who's next, Travis Hunter still kind of right behind him, plus 210. And then Dylan Gabriel plus 300. So he fell back just slightly, but I think that has mostly to do with just with Cam Ward kind of going up. And then Ashton Genty has actually dropped a little bit. He's now plus 500. He had a little bit of not a bad game. It just
He had
was,
2 touchdowns and almost 150 yards. He
Yeah.
played great. Like
it just
Yeah.
wasn't, I think
It wasn't your
what we were
standout
hoping
game.
for.
I mean, you're gonna see that most teams are gonna start filling the box or trying to get as many guys in there. I mean, he's gonna have that, and that's kind of why in the beginning when he got pulled out of that one game at half, people are saying he needed that second quarter because those teams that are gonna slow him down in the future, because everybody's gonna know they're giving him the ball at least 20 times that game. You're gonna stack the box. So he needs those yards and those easy games to now here we are going, oh, he only got 130 yards when we could have been like, oh yeah, remember when he ran 700 yards against this team?
all
Kind
I'm
of
saying
offsets
is
that.
there's every school in America wishes they had a 130-yard
Exactly.
touchdown guy, but
Yeah.
Oh,
not
you
a
mean
running back. It's
you
not a
mean-
running back award.
you mean some of the schools would also like a Caleb Johnson is what you're saying?
Amen, brother. Speak good
Yeah.
on him. Somebody, please. Get
Caleb
this man out there.
Caleb Johnson is now at 1,700 plus yards at the moment, 19 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown. So he has already put up the same numbers that Ollie Gordon did last year, and he's still got like 3 more games. So just a heads up, that's going to be what should be a possibly maybe sneak in the end of the first round, second round pick this year. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
I mean, here's the thing with draft picks and bringing it back to the Heisman conversation. Like nobody's really stood out as the number one guy. I think this is really going to come down to just scouting departments. I don't think there's a true like last year it was Caleb. Like you had to take Caleb. He was the number one guy. And granted, there's a lot of people that liked everybody else, but the last few years there's been like you have to take this guy. The year before that it was Bryce Young. You have to take Bryce Young. And this year there's not. So I mean it's really going to come down to scouting departments and team needs for these drafts. And I think the draft more and more with NIL is becoming like a seniors only draft, almost like it used to. These 6th and 7th round picks really don't mean shit anymore. So, because all the guys that would be normally coming out are like, nah, I'm going to still live the college lifestyle, make $2 million and get drafted the next year, another round higher. But it is what it is. As far as Heisman goes, we've played this game every week. It's the same names. I have no fucking idea. I have no idea who's going to win it. There is no clear-cut favorite. So
It could very well likely be those 4 in the all there still. That 5th spot's going to be in rotation, but I still think those 4 are going to be those 4 from here on out.
Yeah.
I think.
I think
I
that's
agree.
one of the things that makes it a little bit exciting this year is there's not a clear-cut favorite, so there's almost like a little bit of curiosity or wonder behind, who can stand
Let's
out
go
by the
play
end of the
some
year at
ball.
this point. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You got 4 games to go just ball the fuck out. Make a name for yourself, win yourself a Heisman, make a lot of money, go in the history books. But let's dive into this week, Ethan. What's our first game for this
First
week?
first game of the weekend, the 11 a.m. game, Iowa at UCLA. God damn, this one's gonna be early.
That's not an 11 a.m. game.
No,
Oh,
Brother.
that's
I must.
9. That's 8 p.m. on a Friday night.
Oh, that's
Friday
right.
Night Lights we get out there on the West Coast.
It's not
Iowa
very.
travels to UCLA.
It's not very often Iowa gets a Friday night game. So when they do, it's nice to be put on national television. This will be one of those games.
Yeah, it'll be nice
Yeah,
to watch them on Friday to
I
enjoy my
had the
weekend.
realization this evening at about 5 o'clock that Iowa plays Friday night in prime time, and there's no other games on really to distract me if it goes poorly. So my Friday night will solely hinge on the fact of how well Iowa does.
Well,
So
we did see something different last week, Ty. We saw Brendan Sullivan play the quarterback's position last week. How do you think he fared compared to the former Cade McNamara? Because allegedly McNamara is again not listed as a captain this week. We're gonna see Sullivan again.
yeah, I think Sullivan's the right play. Um, he only passed the ball 10 times. He went 9 for 10. And granted, when you get a lead on a team, especially like Wisconsin, and you have a running back that can chew clock and get yards for you, you don't need to throw the ball a whole lot. But he played well. He managed it well. He scrambled to get him out. And I actually had friends calling me that weren't Iowa fans saying that he looked good and that Iowa was exciting to watch. So it also helps when your defense gets 2 turnovers. It does help. So we'll see how he does this week. The full game tape now is out on him. Wisconsin had, a half to watch him from the week before, and then all the red zone shit that he's been in. But UCLA, they have a good defense, and now they have plenty of tape on him and what he's looking to do. But I think Kirk Ferentz is going to just stick to predominantly running the rock, punting, and if Sullivan can make a couple big throws downfield, that'll help. But yeah, so I think he did well. The offense looked different. The ball moved well, but I think he also had some other helping factors for sure.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you, Ty.
Go ahead.
I would agree. I would agree with you. I still think there's room for improvement. There, by all means, the offense did look way different, but there's still got to see more. Iowa looked way better. We did look like a complete football team finally for one game, I'd think. But I think that offense kind of took a little time to get going, which is okay and understandable with new quarterback. Still, you're on the road. But oh no, we were at home.
Yeah,
It was a home game.
The night game at Kinnick. So that helps. You got atmosphere. You got your defense playing well. You know,
A lot of
But-
penalties to start that game, though. They're
Yeah.
going to need to get that cleaned up. I think that was just a trigger happy crew, and they were throwing a lot of flags. But I don't know how I feel about Iowa being 6.5-point favorites here. If they play like they did last week, and they play like they've showed us they can, I think we should be okay. UCLA's offense isn't great. They have a good defense. So I think this is going to definitely be potentially a nitty gritty game. 8 o'clock kickoff. That's 10 o'clock body clock for the Iowa guys, but hopefully first trip out there to LA in a long time, not bowl related. Hopefully they'll have a little bit of juice, a little bit of spunk, and come out and play fiery. Sullivan's a dog. Hopefully he can get the boys jacked up.
Yeah, I was a 6.5-point favorite. Brennan Sullivan last week, you mentioned 10 passing attempts, 7 completions, by the way, not 9. But in those 7 completions,
Oh, shit.
hey, that's okay. In those 7 completions, 93 yards, which feels like 93 more yards than Cade McNamara ever got. So definitely some highlights there, including even our tight end, 66 yards from passing he caught. Even had a 52 yard passing catch. So That's definitely exciting. They're attempting some long passes, it looks like, or at least getting some yards on passes, which has not happened in the past. So hopefully Iowa can keep that up. Personally, I'm going to take Iowa to cover that 6.5.
Yeah, I'll be on it as well. I don't
I
know.
like it.
Friday
I
night
do like it.
traveling could be weird, but I'll have a play on that for sure. Total seems low. Total seems low. I think UCLA scores at least 10, and the total's what, 44?
44 and a
I think it
half
goes.
right now. So
I like the under.
I mean, trends say otherwise. Trends say every time Iowa's been a favorite, it's been an over. So hopefully, I think if UCLA contributes 10, maybe Iowa could go over here, but it would probably rely on a defensive, like not a defensive score, but our defense to force a turnover.
Iowa has put up 40 points a lot this year, but I mean, so 30 is not asking for a lot for you to hit that over. But
yeah, if you're wondering what the Iowa trend has been for over under this year, the over has hit in 8 out of the 9 games. So 8-1 on the over, including even away. They are 8-1 in their. I'm sorry, away this year they're 2-1 for the over. So the one time that they went under was away, but I I still kind of like the over. I think that especially if they stick with Sullivan and Caleb Johnson running the ball, I really like this opportunity.
call me
Yeah.
a stick in the mud, but I mean, like this team hit an under of 32 last year, so like it's hard to like say, yeah, Iowa scoring 30 points. Like it's hard. I can't pull the trigger.
You
I
mean
The
it's
future is now, old
I
man.
I'll give you 20. I'll give you 20. Caleb Johnson, 2 tutters. Like, come on, in a defensive score, like somewhere where special teams play, like 20 points, couple field goals, Like that's an Iowa football game for me. Like that makes me happy. Now, if we get in the 30s, yeah, I'm ecstatic. Like, yeah, let's hope. So like I'm with you guys. Like I hope the over hits, but it's just like ah.
What's the exact number, Ethan?
the over under
Yeah.
44 and a half.
See?
I won't.
I
I'm
start
not gonna.
speaking realistic Iowa football with you, and
Yeah.
you're like, well, yeah, but 8 of the 9 have hit, which is
I
like a black
yeah.
swan.
I was thinking it was 42, and I was like, yeah, 28-14, you get there. I don't know. 44, it's different. I'm not gonna have an official play on that, but I definitely like Iowa's spread. So let's move to the next one. What do you got up next for us?
We've got number 4 Miami heading into Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech an 11.5 point underdog at home. How are you guys feeling about this one?
I said last week Miami doesn't cover the big spread and they struggle covering those larger numbers. They showed that last week with Duke as well. They kind of played with their food there. However, I believe Georgia Tech's starting quarterback and starting running back are still hurt. There's a chance they could still play. This is Thursday. So, I mean, there's time they could play, but even if so, they're a little banged up. So I think Miami comes out and handles business here. I'll take Miami minus the 11.
I'm gonna agree with you, uh, but like it's gonna be like watching paint dry. I think Miami, like you said, they're a fun and exciting team to watch because yes, they do put up points, but those points come like way at the end or like randomly. And they're always like just kind of in it until finally it's like you look away and then next thing you know they're up 30 points on the team and it's usually late somewhere random in the fourth quarter. So it's just going to be a slow draw until Miami just randomly decides to kick it in gear and just put it on them, which is you never know when because like you never know when they're going to figure it out. So I mean, yeah, Miami minus the 11, but it's just going to be whenever they figure it out to get there.
Yeah, the Georgia Tech's head coach came out and said that Haynes King, starting quarterback Haynes King, is a true game time decision with a right shoulder injury. So he's missed the last 2 games. The backup got benched last week. So if King doesn't play, I don't really trust them, and I think Miami should be fine. Without King, the Yellow Jackets have scored a combined 19 points in the last 2 losses. So I think if he doesn't play, this offense looks totally different for Georgia Tech, and I feel more confident in Miami.
Yeah, I personally I like Miami at -11. I know that you mentioned that they have struggled uh to cover the bigger spreads, but I think you're right, Ty. I think with the injuries that Georgia Tech is currently dealing with, I think it's going to be hard for them to catch up offensively, especially if their running back is out. Miami has the number 22 ranked rushing defense, so believe it or not, that doesn't almost sound right to me, but they do. So um, I'm going to go with Miami on this one.
I like it. What's next, Steve? We're
We
all team riding so far on Iowa and Miami.
We got number 3 Georgia heading into number 16 Ole Miss. Some might argue game of the week, but there is a different game of the week that we will get to a little bit later. Um, is that yeah, that's right. LSU plays later. So number 3 Georgia against number 16 Ole Miss. 2.5 point underdog is Ole Miss at home. So personally, it's a weird one. Oh man, it's what Carson Beck
It
versus
almost
Jackson Dart. Is that right?
it
Yeah.
almost feels like it should be a stay away game, but like also that feels like a sin to not bet this game. I don't know if it's just because it's SEC football, the two big powerhouses, but like say this was like an ACC matchup, we'd be like, probably shouldn't bet it because we're not sure.
I
That's
think
kind of how I feel about this. It's like Ole Miss has been playing well, but they look like crap. We know they both have lost, so they know they have the potential of getting beat. Georgia hasn't looked the best, and they've woken up late. So if like Ole Miss, but they do have a good defense to back it up, and so does Georgia. So it's just kind of like who's gonna decide they want to play football or are gonna wake up earliest and actually fight in this game.
I think if you're gonna bet on an underdog this weekend, I actually really like Ole Miss in this one. I think with Ole Miss being at home, the fact that I think since that tweet came out about Carson Beck, his girlfriend had tweeted like, "This is my football player" or something along those lines. Ever since she tweeted that out, I think he's thrown 5 interceptions and no touchdowns. So I definitely don't like those stats, but I think, like I said, I think if there's a underdog to bet on this week, this should be your pick.
I'm going to be opposite of you here, Ethan. I'm going to take Georgia. We say Georgia hasn't looked as good this season, and there's reason for that, but their one loss is on the road to Alabama. They were getting slaughtered in the first half. They came back and ended up leading at one point in that game. Couldn't close the deal. It isn't great that Carson Beck is struggling in back-to-back games. He has more than one interception. He had 3 interceptions total between Texas and Florida games the last 2 weeks. On the season, he has 17 passing touchdowns to go with the 11 interceptions. On the other hand, Jackson Dart, he just, hasn't been able to show like in the big moments this year. Ole Miss has 2 losses, and I don't know. I personally think that Kirby Smart's a better coach than Lane Kiffin. I think he's going to coach circles around him. I think Georgia's not underestimating Ole Miss, and they're going to come in and handle business. Ethan, something that does go on your side is the Rebels are 25-3 at home since 2021 and 11-1 since the start of last season. That's in your favor. What's working in my favor betting with Georgia is that Georgia is 49-3 over the last 4 years, all 3 losses against Alabama. And last I checked, Ole Miss is not Alabama. So till that has been broken, go ahead and give me Georgia. I'll just take them on the money line. I don't need to sweat the points, but this is going to be a banger that sets up for the nightcap.
Much agreed. Both your statements intrigue me, but only one can have Pookie's vote on their side, and I am the only one that can make that choice.
He wants the dogs.
Give me the dogs.
He wants
Give me
the
Kirby
dogs.
Smart. Give me Kirby Smart in the defense. With Tyler, I think Kirby Smart's a better coach. I think that defense is just proven itself to be a power force, and I mean, if the Georgia offense can stay on the field and Carson Beck can't throw so many interceptions, I think it's definitely in their favor because their defense will stay healthy and fresh. That Alabama game, they were on the field a lot because Georgia couldn't get it going until late. And then every defense is going to get tired at some point. So give me the dogs. Okay, do we have an over-under on this game? I would like to see that if anybody's got that.
Let me double check it quick. The Georgia. Oh my gosh, my phone is active.
I'm seeing this line right now listed at.
This is a 55 over under 55.
It's a lot of points for two good defenses and two offenses that have kind of struggled. But maybe you see a defensive touchdown. I'm going to personally say give me the over just because I think it'd be more fun that way. I'd like to see a little bit of a shootout. So
these teams are both under teams. Georgia 3-5 on the over. Ole Miss 2-7 on the over.
So stats say take the under. However, I think big game, big moment, a lot of big plays get made, and we see some points. Just like Alabama, Georgia. I think it's fireworks.
Yeah, that'll be cool to see if it is.
Let's move into our next game. We got Iowa State heading into the great state of Missouri, actually, not Kansas. Iowa State is going to play Kansas at the Arrowhead Stadium, home of the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, Kansas's stadium is being renovated at the moment, but with a neutral site game, the sportsbooks see something in this because the spread is all the way down to 3 points in favor of Iowa State. Now, I get Iowa State lost last week by 1 point. They were 14.5-point favorites, but Kansas is 2-7 on the year. What are
2-6.
Are we looking? Yeah, 2-6. What are we looking at?
I don't understand this either at all. Give me Iowa State minus the 3. Give me Iowa State money line. I think this is a huge overreaction from the books. So
I'll confess. I hate Iowa State with a passion, but I even batted an eye at this line, and I go, only minus 3. Oh, I might. That's kind of tasty on a lock. I mean,
are you thinking about actually betting this game, Parker?
Never in my goddamn life, but it made me raise an eyebrow because I was like, "Whoa, that's it." That's all I had to say. I'll admit that I raised an eyebrow at the line, but like, no, not betting it. I hope they get beat by 25.
I will personally be all over this line strictly because
give me Kobe Bryant with the straps.
Kobe Bryant is tied for the lead in FBS with interceptions.
Best corner in the league.
Bold statement.
College football.
Bold statement. However, to that point, Iowa State has an interception in 8 straight games, I believe. Let me check that fact. I don't want to be wrong. Yes, 8 intercepted a pass in all 8 games this season. Kansas, their quarterback, Jalen Daniels, he started the season with a massive turnover problem. He's kind of fixed it. But 2 weeks ago, he did throw an interception and lose a fumble to Kansas State. So I think too many turnovers. Iowa State's defense is opportunistic with turnovers. Give me Iowa State here. I think they're going to be able to handle it. And 3 points is insane. So go ahead, give me Iowa State minus the 3.
Yeah, I'm also taking Iowa State. That's a no-brainer. They have been nails all year. Like I said, last week was the first week that they've struggled. They lost. But against a tough opponent, I mean, Texas Tech always plays very difficult, even at away games. So you can't win all of, or I mean, you can win all of them. It's just very difficult. So I'm going to count that as Iowa State's rough loss of the year, and they're going to get back on track this week, especially against a 2-6 Kansas team.
It is worth noting
Yeah,
the
but
last 2 visits, Kansas has won this game.
don't sleep on Kansas. Kansas, yes, is 2-6, but this is the year they thought they weren't gonna have, and I think it just kind of blew up. I mean, they have a returning quarterback, Jaden Daniels. He's riddled with injury. Jalen Daniels, yeah, my bad. My correction. He's been a dual threat quarterback for the last 3 years for them. He's always put up good numbers. I mean, their defense has always been hanging in there in games. They just haven't really found a way to piece things together. I think they're gonna scrap, but I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting game. That's all I gotta say. I just want to put a defense to the 2-7 Kansas Jayhawks.
Well, they're 2-6 now, but after this meeting, they will be 2-7. You can defend them again next week when they are.
Yeah.
But Jalen Daniels this year, 11 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, with only 1,500 yards. Not the offensive production you need to beat an Iowa State team. Iowa State they almost lost to UCF, who had a very explosive offensive game. Texas Tech won by 1 point, had a very good offensive game. I don't see it out of Kansas here, and that's why I'm confident in Iowa State. Ethan, you're with me, right?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, next one.
Next one we got, let's go back to the Big Ten. Michigan heading into number 8, Indiana. Holy shit, fellas. Indiana's still undefeated. 8-0 now, is that right?
9-0.
9-0. Oh
Google
my
me.
God. Indiana not only favorited, or a favorite, excuse me. They are 14 and a half point favorites against Michigan. If you told me that this team was not just favorited in general, but favorited by 2 touchdowns, I would have told you that you were out of your fucking mind. And here we are, and I think that that's a great spread for Indiana.
14-point favorites over Michigan.
Defending national champion.
Yeah. Like it's crazy. He wins football games. He wasn't lying. He was not lying. So until he proves me wrong, give me Indiana minus 14.5. I freaking love it.
Their closest win margin this year is 14 points. They're not just beating teams, they're blowing teams out. I think this helps Indiana that this game is at home. There might also be something to say, though, that, you're facing Big Blue. You see those uniforms. There's an aura to them. 14 is a lot of points. I'm going to take Indiana here. I think Indiana wins this game. 14, though, is a lot of points for a good team. Michigan wants to come in and fuck up somebody else's season because theirs is over. But Kirk Cignetti is going to have these boys fired up for this one. He knows the moment. He knows the national spotlight beating a team like Michigan, even in a bad year, brings. I wouldn't be surprised if this place is going to be full of recruits. I think Indiana wins. I don't know about a cover, but that 14.5 point spread is going to look really fucking nice in my monster teaser this week. I can promise you that.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I personally, I'm going to buy it down to 13.5 just to make it 2 touchdowns. They cover 2 touchdowns. Michigan 2-7 against the spread. Indiana 8-1 against the spread. So there's a pretty clear divide there about who covers typically. I understand Michigan, like you said, Ty, is the defending national champion. There's something to the uniforms, and I would agree with you usually. However, they're playing at Indiana. that stadium now is rowdy, and these fans have been waiting so long to have a good
It's a big
football
stadium
team.
up out there.
It is, considering that they have been very bad for quite a while now,
Yeah.
up until this year. It is a large stadium, and let me tell you, it's gotten rowdy there this year. I'm taking Indiana at least minus 13 and a half. I might as well buy the point down just to feel a little bit more comfortable about it, but I'm going to take Indiana.
Yeah, I'll take
Something
Indiana. It's a big spread. I don't know, but
I
Indiana wins the game.
I think I honestly might think Indiana wins by 3 just because I think Coach Signetti knows how to coach the second half. If you look at Indiana football, they put up a lot of points in the second half. I think they make really good locker room
Adjustments.
adjustments. That's the word. And I think Michigan's in for a run. I do think they're going to be in for their hands full.
Well, let's take a quick look at our next game. I know pretty much all of us were on Indiana there. How about this one for ESPN Game Day this week? We got number 11 Bama heading into number 15 LSU. LSU a 2.5 point underdog. Making the guest picks this week. Paul Skeenes and Livy Dunne going to be up on that stage together. God damn, is there a better couple in sports?
Viewer turnout for that one's going to be crazy.
Yeah. Uh, I don't know. Give me Bama. I don't know. I really don't know. They've both been shammed in the past, and
You're not super confident about this one. I can definitely tell you that.
yeah, because I'm not. Because I hate betting on LSU because you never know how they're going to play.
You're not wrong.
And last few times I've bet on them to win, I've just gotten absolutely shammed. One of those times was betting on them to beat Texas A&M. Texas A&M mollywopped them, but Texas A&M can't beat South Carolina. Anyways, we're moving on. Give me Bama. I think they had that one little hiccup. I think they're going to start playing some better football. And yeah,
One hiccup. They got 2 hiccups on the schedule.
they can't have any more of those, or they'll have to go to the doctor.
The loser of this game is out of the playoffs. They're
100%.
out.
100%.
Bama is the 11 seed right now, according to ESPN in the college football playoff bracket. They lose this game, they're out. LSU is not in. This win potentially could put them in. The problem I'm having is I hate Brian Kelly. I don't think he's a good coach. But Bama's showed flaws this year. They've shown up in big moments, but they've also been, lackluster at times. A loss to Vandy is a loss to Vandy. But Texas A&M showed Alabama how you can beat this LSU squad, and it's with a mobile quarterback. Texas A&M's quarterback had 3 rushing touchdowns against LSU's defense, and Jalen Milroe is a better athlete overall than Marcel Reed. So I think that Jalen Daniels could be dynamic in the rushing game this week. But the things that are like holding me on here for LSU as well is I don't have the exact record in front of me, but LSU at night is fucking unbeatable. At home, in Baton Rouge, at night. That record's insane. I want to say Brian Kelly in his tenure there has maybe lost one night game as the head coach of LSU. So
Here, let me tell you what LSU's record is at home at night. Since the year of 2000, LSU has a record of 138-23 at home, including a win streak of 13 consecutive games since the 2022 season.
Go post like Joe Burr and go this recent last 2 or 3 years. I don't think their record's as good as I think this is. We've seen more of their losses now than we have in the past.
I don't know if I can make it that specific. I can give you some other stats real quick. Here's some stuff that I like. Since Bear Bryant's retirement in 1982, Alabama leads this series 23 15-1. So it does say that they've tied a game. Of those, let's see, 39 games, four of them have ended in overtime decisions. And that's four in the last 10 seasons. That's 2000 and oh wait, I take it back. Not in the last 10. There were four games in a 10 season period that ended in overtime from 2005 to 2014. Current trends, neither one of these teams are great at covering this year. Bama 4-4 and LSU 3-5. So I personally, I want to lean toward history and say that Bama's going to take the win on this one. Um, I think that's just the safer bet. I think the offense is better. And like you said, Ty, I don't trust Brian Kelly.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going on this one, to be honest with you, boys. I like Bama. I think Jalen Milroe could help them win here, but LSU at night, different beast. I think it's going to be a fun one to watch. For the sake of making a pick, give me LSU to eliminate Bama from playoff contention.
Wow.
Let the Kalen DeBoer era start with a very rocky road, with losses to rivals Tennessee, LSU, and new belt-to-ass father Vanderbilt.
Interesting.
Fair enough. Right now we're split. Park, where are you going?
I said Alabama at the beginning.
Oh, you're on Bama as well. Okay, so 2-1 on Bama. Ty, you're outnumbered in this one. I'm sorry, dude, but
I mean, I could very well be wrong. I want.
No, I get it. I get it.
I want the turmoil. I want to see the people that live.
You want to
in
see the
state
world
cry.
burn. Yeah. Yeah. I get it. It would be fun to see. I do like that. Now that you say that, it is kind of tasty. So, like, there might be a subtle sly win of whatever happens, but, like, I'm going with Bama.
well, I can tell you I'll be staying away from actually betting that game.
This is my third football season living in the state of Alabama. I've seen them lose to Tennessee twice, Vandy once. It's been fucking great. If they lost to LSU here and got eliminated from playoff contention, boy, would I be fucking tickled.
That's awesome. Let's head into our next game here, fellas. We got number 23 Clemson, who has been an absolute rock this year. They're headed into a very tough environment in Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech 6.5-point favorites. I'm sorry, 6.5-point underdogs. I apologize. I read it wrong. With Virginia Tech, that Enter Sandman, is that something we think Clemson can overtake this time?
I don't know. You said Clemson has been a rock, and I would tend to agree with you. Except for last week, they got shit kicked at home in a night game by Louisville. However,
Tyler's rant of them going undefeated.
Yeah, I told you they would need to do it. And I picked Clemson to win and cover that game last week, and boy, did they prove me wrong. So, though I love Drones playing quarterback here for Virginia Tech, I think Clemson's pissed off, and they know that they have to be perfect now the rest of the way and hope they can find a way into the SEC championship game or the ACC championship game to be able to make it in the playoffs. I think if Miami wins the ACC, this is a one team or a one bid league to the 12-team playoff. So I think if anybody but Miami wins, you might see two teams and Miami get included. A lot of football left. Crazy shit could happen. I think Clemson comes out here and mollywops Virginia Tech as a bounce back. If they don't and they come out flat here, Dabo has lost the locker room. He's lost faith in the guys, or the guys have lost faith in him. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think the culture is too good. I think Clemson comes out, bounces back, and covers the 6-point spread.
Yeah, I don't know about Mollywop, but I definitely think Clemson should win this football game. They definitely need that get-back game. I think this is where it's at because they need to fine-tune some things before going into Pitt. Virginia Tech has not looked like they should have from the beginning of the season. I hope they fight because I would like to see Clemson get beat, but I think Clemson should get a win. This game could be a fun live bet if they look flat and if you snag Virginia Tech at the right time. So look for that, but give me Clemson for now.
I think I'm gonna agree with you guys. I personally I have liked betting on Clemson this year. They've made me some money. They are 4-4 against the spread, so 500. Virginia Tech 5-4 against the spread. Um, Virginia Tech being the home team, I understand it's a really, really tough environment there. Both teams coming off of a loss. I would like to see Clemson win this game, so that's why I'm going to choose them. I don't know if I'm comfortable putting my money on them officially to cover 6.5. Maybe to win is what I would do. Maybe a parlay piece, but I do like Clemson here to at least take the dub home. Let's head into we got two more college football games. Or I'm sorry, one more college football game. We have Colorado heading into Texas Tech. Number 20 Colorado, that is, headed into Texas Tech. Texas Tech 4.5 point underdogs at home. Can Travis Hunter and the fellas get it done?
There's a chance Travis Hunter and the fellas could sneak into the CFP. There's a chance. There's a road they could make it happen. I think Texas Tech blew their load last week. They're a good team. But I think now Colorado is going to come in and not sleep on them after seeing what happened there. And they're going to come out and take this game seriously. So I like Colorado here. Yeah, so I'm going to take Colorado. I'll buy it down to 3. 4's stupid. So yeah, give me Colorado.
Two outcomes I see in this game, both end in a Colorado win. I think Colorado wins this game. They're playing great football right now. They have an offense. Their defense is finding a system and a rhythm, and they're starting to roll along. This Texas Tech team is a good team. We've seen that. They always play scrappy. So my prediction is this is going to be a shootout if Colorado's defense cannot hang in there. Or it's going to be a one-sided Colorado wins by a couple touchdowns.
I'm with Ty. I think they blew their load last week. With Colorado Colorado covers 6 of the 8 times they've played this year. Texas Tech also has covered pretty well this season, 5-3-1. So they're not far behind. I personally I think Colorado, like you said, Park, offensively is going to be a little bit more fun to watch, but defensively they actually have a little bit of a defense this year. Not top of the nation, but compared to Texas
Better than
Tech,
what it was.
yeah, better than it was last year. Much better than Texas Tech. I like Colorado in this one.
This episode of Show Me the Money is brought to you by Tavern Sports, your place to get fun sports content, sportsbook lines and parlays, and of course food reviews with Big E's Ballpark Bites. You can follow Tavern Sports on Instagram at Tavern Sports 2023, TikTok at Tavern.Sports, and Twitter at Tavern Sports 23.
Welcome back to the Show Me the Money podcast. We're going to go right into our NFL. NFL is a really small slate this week. We only have 3 games listed. Let's start it off with our Chicago Bears, who looked absolutely miserable last week. The New England Patriots head into Chicago, 6.5-point underdogs for the Patriots. The Bears, after last week, I'm worried about covering 6 points in this game.
Yeah, our offense has been pitiful the last 2 weeks.
History repeats itself.
The Bears are the Bears. Give me the Patriots +6, especially with Drake May at the helm. The Bears offense hasn't been able to fucking move the ball at all. So
doesn't help that our defense is injury riddled either.
And we can't stop the run worth of shit. We proved that against Arizona last week. Ramondre Stevenson's a good back. So give me the Patriots. Give me Ramondre Stevenson and Drake May to make a couple plays and cover 6 points.
Yeah, I would be I'm with Tyler, and if I lost, but if I lost that bet, I'm happy I lost that bet. I won't really be upset, but the Bears aren't showing me anything that's going to prove that the Patriots won't cover this. Drake May has looked good. He's making throws. He's putting up some good stats. And when they get it close, like you said, Ty, Ramondre Stevenson is proven to be a good back, and he's getting the ball into the end zone. That's his only job he has.
Yeah, I am with you guys. I don't think I'll personally bet against the Bears, just because I would like to see them win. However, Patriots +6 is looking mighty tasty. So if I was to bet this game, that's probably where my money would be, especially with Drake May. Caleb Williams still needs to show me some progression. He's not throwing to Moore, at least not well. I think Moore's like 6 for 13 or 6 for 14 in targets. So um, I would definitely be leaning toward the Patriots +6 in this game. Let's head
Yeah.
into our second NFL game, second of three. Steelers head into the DC area. The Commanders are 3-point favorites, which this is actually going to be a pretty good game. Steelers have Russell Wilson moving the ball pretty well. However, Jaden Daniels, man, he's been electric this year.
Yes, he has. He's been fun to watch. So's that whole Commanders offense. But Steelers made it. They pick up Mike Williams? Who'd they pick up? Yeah.
Picked
There's
up
some
Mike
moves.
Williams, and they picked up another D lineman
Yeah.
that I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But I'll make this one short and sweet. Give me the Steelers +3. Rookie quarterbacks have a terrible record against Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin has seen mobile quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels. He's seen the original Jaden Daniels in Lamar Jackson all the time. And the Steelers do a good job of containing Lamar. I think they're going to plug and play that same game plan with that 3-4 defense, and just shut Jaden Daniels down. Make him beat you in the passing game, which he can do. He can do that. But I think the Steelers, they've seen quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels before and are going to be okay. Big addition out of the Commanders too. Marshawn Lattimore out of the Saints there. Could see him, I don't know, maybe running some single man-on-man coverage, just shading. I don't think it'd be Mike Williams. I think it'd probably be Pickens,
It'd
and
be
just
Pickens,
take him out of this,
100%.
take Pickens out of this game completely. But I like the
Who's
Steelers.
at the ship? Who's at the helm? Is it Russ?
Yeah, Russ is quarterback.
Russ is gonna give Pickens those 50-50 balls. I think he caught enough of them the other week with Russ throwing to him that I think he's gonna look to air raid him again.
Yeah, I could see the Commanders winning this by 7-10 in a certain play style. But I think the Steelers defense keeps it tight, keeps it gritty, and I like Mike Tomlin's record against rookie quarterbacks, so that's why I'll ride with the Steelers here.
Yeah, I think I would probably ride with you as well. I think the Steelers, especially as an underdog, like you mentioned, Ty, Tomlin does a very good job against the rookies, specifically guys who are mobile. Steelers always just have a solid defense. Whether they actually whether the names stand out on the team or not, their defense is always solid. I do like them as underdogs here, especially with a veteran like Wilson. I don't know if I prefer Wilson over Fields necessarily, but the defense is what stands out to me. So that's where I am going to go as Steelers +3.
I'm gonna agree with you guys. I only got 2 words. TJ Watt.
Fair enough.
The guy has
Yeah.
been nails this year. He's been so good. Although
You can't game plan for him. Yeah,
We're all-
but unless they send one guy in practice just unblocked as soon as they snap it, he's on top of Jaden Daniels, and that's how they were practicing all week. I don't know how they're gonna stop him. I mean, he's just a force.
I do want to throw out this is week 10. The prediction that we had at the beginning of the year was that week 10 is when TJ Watt gets hurt.
Oh,
So-
I hope we're wrong.
Keep an eye out on it. I just want to Just wanted to remind you, this is the week that he's possibly gone. So, keep an eye out. We'll see what happens, but I would love to see TJ Watt stay healthy for a full season. So,
Yeah, me too.
especially this year, he's been by far and away the defensive player of the year. So, let's head into our last NFL game of this week. Lions head into Houston. They take on the Texans. Texans 3.5 point underdogs. CJ Stroud has looked fucking miserable the last 2 or 3 weeks. So against the tough Lions defense, especially as of late, what are we feeling?
Bold prediction. A lot of people saw that coming for CJ Stroud. I mean, you can have a good year, but it's hard to have two good back-to-back years. And like the previous quarterback we just talked about, Jaden Daniels, he's having a good year. I don't know if there's a lot of film on him, or they're just translating his game, but let the league build and let some of these guys do some of their scouting and their work on him. But right now, I'm with you. Texans look bad. Their offense hasn't been getting anything rolling. They just look shy and shoddy. Doesn't help that they lost Stephon Diggs, but it looks like their offense can have
And Nico
success
Collins.
without. Yeah. So I don't know. The Lions just look like the best football team, complete football team right now in my eyes. Give me the Lions. Love the Lions. I know they're in our division, but they're a fun team to watch.
Yeah, I think Houston, they showed that, you know, the Jets were able to beat them. They didn't look great up there. CJ Stroud is struggling without Collins and Diggs. Joe Mixon's still a beast in the backfield, but Jared Goff has been lights out this year. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are just eating touchdowns. And Dan Campbell might have the biggest set of nuts in humankind history on him with how many trick plays he's running week in and week out. You never know what this dude's cooking up at practice. I like the Lions here. I think this game's going to be fun and exciting to watch. I think Houston could win in a close one, but I also could see Detroit lighting up the scoreboard and winning this one handedly. And I like that a little bit better. So give me the Lions on the spread. Give me the Lions money line. But hopefully a really good game to watch.
Ty, I'm with you. I really like the Lions, especially at 3.5 points right now. In order for the Texans to win this game, CJ Stroud has to play significantly better. You know, whether or not Jared Goff plays his best game, like you mentioned, they still have Montgomery and Gibbs. It's a no-brainer that you can just hand the ball off to either one of those guys. I really like the Lions minus 3.5 here. Give me that to happen. The only chance I see this switching is if the Texans play the same defense somehow that the Lions or the Texans play the same defense that they played against the Bears, which would be very good. Like, not just very good, it would be one of the best defenses all season.
Hey there, sports fans. Are you tired of the same old boring shirts? Well, we've got something exciting for you. Introducing the Tavern Sports Pocket Tee, where style meets passion for the game. Whether you're a diehard fan or just like the environment, Tavern Sports has got you covered, literally. The best part, because you're listening to Show Me the Money, you can use the code $$ to get 15% off today. So what are you waiting for? Head over to tavern-sports.square.site right now and elevate your game day experience. Tavern Sports. Beer, betting, sports.
Good breakdown. So, yeah, not a big NFL slate, guys. Let's get our locks in and let's get out of here for the night. Who has the locks from the guys that aren't here for tonight?
Yeah, I had wrote all of them down, so I've got them set right here. Let's start off with Mr. Cole Silha. He has the Bears first drive punt again. Generally, that is plus money. I don't have the exact odds on it, but that's almost always like plus 150 or something like that. So That's what he likes. Clark is going to take Clemson at -3.5. So he bought that down a couple of points, and it just barely fits into our odds race. That's -148. John is taking the Falcons at -4. And then Josh is taking Indiana at -12.5. So he's also buying a couple of points.
Bears are -115 to punt first drive this week, but it fits.
Perfect. Well, Park, what are you thinking for your lock of the week, sir?
I'm buying the point down from Army at -4.5, and I'm getting them at -3.5.
I have them at -4 on my book if you just want them at 3.
I already put it in for 3.5, but like if you can get it at 3 and it's not that much, I'd get them at 3.
I'll give them to you at 3. Well within the limit.
Cool.
E, where are you headed?
I am gonna take Iowa State this week. I am gonna buy it down a half a point to 2.5. Just makes sense. But I'm gonna take Iowa State -2.5. I think that's gonna be a 2-touchdown game.
Gotcha. I'm going to match Parker here with the academies. Give me Navy -3 against South Florida. I think the book's over adjusted too much after a really weird game against Rice last week that was delayed a whole lot. And I'm not fucking around this week. It's not some big one. It's not some stupid one. It's the monster teaser I'm going to place. So it's 4 legs. You get a 13-point swing. It's -140. You got to lay the juice a little bit, but this has worked really well for me. I'm going to take Miami from -11 and get them at +2 against Georgia Tech. So could get them being upset even there. I'm going to take Indiana down from 14.5 to 1.5. So they got to win by 2. I get Iowa State to +10 against Kansas.
That is wild.
And I get Penn State money line against Washington at Penn State. -140. 4 legs. Lay some juice with it. Enjoy the ride. It's fun.
I love that.
When they lose, it's fucking heartbreaking. You're pissed. You're like, how did the 13-point swing not hit? But I feel good about this one. Yeah, and you know what? Hopefully it works. Ethan, ride this one with me. Promise you. Feels good.
I'm definitely going to do that. And I think everybody else should too, because guess what? End of the day, we want you to place those bets. We want you to show me the money. Thanks for joining on this week's episode.
Show me the money!